Let's draw a crying face. As usual, I begin with the construction of creating the head and face. Each thing drawn here, from the shape of the head to the eyes and nose, all have their own tutorials here on my channel, so feel free to check them out. The two biggest things that really push expressions are eyebrows and mouths. For this piece, since our character is crying, I'll be emphasizing the shape of the eyebrows, where they'll be turned up to create a sad or worried look at first. I then draw the nose, which is a diamond-heavy shape with the circle for the tip of the nose and two smaller circles on either side of the nostrils. My mouth is then curved downward, almost like a pout. With the tears, I kind of exaggerate the water effect because that's sort of my style. I then sketch them falling down the cheeks and create a glooby sort of look on the chin. Once I finish up with all the sketching, I then take out my fine liners to ink everything in. Also, you can find a list of all my frequently used supplies in the description below. I make sure to pace myself when inking since I don't want to mess up any of my lines. The size of fine liner that I'm using here is 0.3. Sometimes I use slightly bigger ones like the 0.5, and sometimes I use much thinner ones like the 0.05 for the super fine details. I get a lot of questions on how to get super crisp and non-shaky lines, and honestly, I feel like I say this a lot, but it really just comes down to practice. The more you draw certain flowy lines, the easier it is to keep your hands steady. So specifically when it comes to inking the tears, I keep my inking sort of broken up on that area. I don't want to fully outline the tears because I don't want it to look super flat and unrealistic, especially since other things like the coloring of the skin will help to shape the look of the tears themselves. I also make sure to add a lot of pinks to her cheeks on her skin. I want her to look sort of flushed in her cheeks, which is a common reaction when people cry. I then finish up the rest of the skin coloring, and I also have a tutorial for coloring skin if you're interested in seeing how I go about doing this specific part. Once the skin is done, I focus on coloring in her eyes, which are pink. I also make sure not to color in her tears at all just yet. Usually when dealing with water, since it's transparent, things like skin color and eye color would of course show through, but I decided to go a different route and color the actual tears in with a bluish sort of color while also leaving the edges white. After all that, I finish up with her hair by coloring it all in with shades of gray. This time, her hair matches the last facial expression character that I did for Happy. So if you enjoyed this quick tutorial, hit the like button and leave a comment for what tutorial you'd like to see next.